Have you ever been to Almaty? Or have you ever been to a chess international championship for children? If this is your first time, you might have a lot of questions. I will this time try to answer them not only as chess dad, but also as a person who loves traveling. This year I have been to more than 10 countries. One of them was, believe it or not, even Kazakhstan, as I was in Almaty in April. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the safety there, about the weather that you can expect, and the ways to move around. Also, I'll mention a few things about distances between the airport, the hotels, and the playing venue, and how will the transfers be organized on the World Cadet Chess Championships. I will spend some time talking how your day will look like, with all the chess agenda that there is around, and the hotel schedule, and all that else that you might have. I will even try to give you a few ideas what things you might fit into that busy schedule and what are the great things to do and see around Almaty in Kazakhstan. So let's dive in. How safe is it there? When I travel to an exotic location, that's one of the first questions that I ask myself. Is it safe? I wanted to share a little bit of my personal experience from my recent travel to Almaty and a few data that I found when I browsed around talking safety in Almaty and Kazakhstan altogether. In my personal experience, it's pretty much like Europe. I felt very safe in the city. I was walking around and it did feel quite good. I had zero issues altogether. You might get to see a little bit of visible police, but they are simply there for prevention and contributing to the safety. Challenges, of course, you can find anywhere, even in your own hometown or even in your own home country, and there are no guarantees, but honestly, it did feel very safe. Just to be fair, I did not go into any nightlife, but during the day it felt very safe, as was during the evening. So I do plan to walk a lot around the city and get to know it. I also, not to keep it at personal experience, I also looked at some international data on city safety. So I wanted to share them with you. I looked at CEO World and Numbeo Safety Index. Both of these sites look at safety indexes and crime statistics to make a ranking of the cities and their safety in the world. Almaty was similar in those ratings in both places as LA in the US or as Phoenix, or when we look at Europe, it was very similar to Dublin or London in terms of safety. As said, no guarantees, but it does seem fairly okay to me. Just one thing to note when talking safety, your passport, your document is a big thing in Kazakhstan, as there is a lot of police around and you should carry it with you and not lose it. How much do you really know about Kazakhstan? About its size, about its population, about the language that's spoken there? Well, here is a crash course for you. Kazakhstan is the 9th largest country in the world. It is actually equal in size to Western Europe, or 4 times bigger than Texas, as an example. It is also considered the largest landlocked country in the world. That means the largest country in the world without access to the sea. Despite that huge size, it has only 20 million and some inhabitants. The population is very diverse. I remember when I was driving around with our hosts in Almaty, 3 people driving us around. One was Kazakh, one was Russian, one was Tatar. So there is a lot of diversity in that population. English as a language, you can expect it to be okay in hotels, airports, maybe major restaurants. But English is only the 3rd language in Almaty. Kazakh and Russian are more spoken, and these would be very useful to get around. 1/3 of Almaty speaks some English officially, especially the younger population who picks it up more lately. So if you get stuck anywhere, your best bet is to find a youngster and try to figure it out with them. You might have heard also that Kazakhstan is a predominantly Muslim country, Yes, it is, but it is also a secular country, so you'll not feel that in a day-to-day life. 70% of the population is Muslim, roughly 20% is Christian, mostly Orthodox. What are you going to wear in Almaty in late September? If you check the temperature these days, you might have seen that during the summer it gets pretty warm. I think I've seen 37 degrees the other day of Celsius. Also, there are some pretty high mountains. Does it mean it gets cold? And yes, it is a Muslim country, so are there any special requirements or any special no-nos in Almaty? Astana is a political capital of Kazakhstan, but Almaty is often considered the southern capital or the business capital of the country. Almaty is a very, very modern city. It is also the biggest city in Kazakhstan with more than 2 million people. And for me, it felt very European-like. That means it is okay to wear shorts, to wear dresses, to wear sleeveless shirts or sleeveless tops. In rural areas, it can get more traditional, but Almaty is very modern and you might see global brands and very European style of outfits all around. September is actually the perfect time of year to visit it. It does get the least rain in a year, only 7 rainy days, and the temperature is fairly mild, so not too hot like during the summer and not very cold like it can get during the winter. You can expect something around 15 to 20 degrees Celsius in September. The last thing to talk here is a little bit about the daylight that you can expect. So what time of the day you can expect to see the sun. The usual in this area is similar to other countries on a similar latitude, of course, which is Toronto in Canada or Milwaukee in the United States, or in Europe, Monaco or Sarajevo. You can expect the sunlight between 6:30 a.m. when the sun rises and between 6:30 p.m. when the sun is officially setting. How will you move around Almaty and what to be mindful of? When I'm in new places, I try to avoid assumptions like it's similar to my home place. The first thing I need to tell you, in Almaty, cash is still king. Especially that's valid for smaller stores, street markets and taxi. Cards you can use at almost all bigger places like airport, hotels, bigger restaurants. Local currency is tenge, Kazakhstani tenge, and I plan to pick it up at the ATM as soon as I land. Most ATMs in Kazakhstan do not charge for picking up cash, and I checked it personally in April when I was there. I picked up some cash on the local ATM in my hotel lobby, and I didn't get charged any fees behind that. Taxi app that everyone uses in Almaty is Yandex.Go. It is fairly cheap, but cash really works best in my experience, despite the fact that they mentioned that cards can be used for payments there. So I do recommend having cash at hand. There is also one line of metro or underground in Almaty, and it is fairly close to all the hotels and it can cover all the main locations around the city center. What they say about it is it's clean, safe and cheap. I did not check it personally, but the trains you can expect every 10 minutes on weekdays and every 15 minutes on the weekend. One other thing to mention, roaming might be a little bit expensive, so just be mindful of it. I usually, when I come to more exotic locations, I turn roaming and mobile data off, and I focus on communicating via Wi-Fi from the hotel. If you need to be connected though, I would highly recommend you either picking up a local SIM or an eSIM of a sort. They seem to be working great in Almaty. How close is the airport to the hotels? Or how close are the hotels to the playing venue? How are the transfers arranged? I'm sharing here a few details about that. I'm expecting everyone to land at Almaty International Airport. Everything else seems very, very distant. I've been to that place 4 times this year, so I have to share a few things. First one is, don't be intimidated by military-looking officials all around the place, especially at the immigration. but you do need to take it seriously. That especially refers to the paperwork if your country, for example, needs visa, or if you have within your delegation any child traveling without parents, they need to have some kind of paperwork behind. Transfers from the airport to the official hotels are free on the official arrival and departure days, which is 18th of September and the 1st of October. How do you find the transfers when you arrive to Almaty Airport? When you go through the immigration, pick up your luggage, on the airport arrivals, look for the signs saying something like chess or WCCC arrivals and transfers. WCCC, just to remind you, means World Cadet Chess Championship. The distance between airport and the hotels is around 15-20 kilometers, which should take around 40 minutes or more. This more might happen in the case that buses go to different locations before they leave you to your own hotel. Of course, it can be even a little bit less if you come in the middle of the night, like my plane is landing, for example. The playing venue is called Balwan Sholak Arena and is roughly 2-3 kilometers from the official hotel. That is 30-40 minutes walking distance, or 10 to 15 in decent terms in traffic. Now, that daily transfer is also organized from the hotel to the playing venue and back. Sometimes it can get a little bit complicated depending on the traffic, depending on the organization and how many hotels the bus is stopping at. That is why I'm honestly planning to walk, because from my hotel there is less than 30 minutes and my daughter and I feel like it is a safe place and a good way to warm up and get some air before the chess game. How will your day look like around the whole World Cadet Chess Championship in Almaty, Kazakhstan this year? The first thing to note, all the games are scheduled at 3 p.m. So every single day the game is at 3 p.m. The exception is last round, when the game is going to be played at 11 a.m. to accommodate the closing ceremony. One other thing to note is that on day one there will be an opening ceremony starting at 2 p.m. So the schedule will be slightly different and you will need to be there a little bit earlier in the playing venue. One thing that I can tell you from experience, day one and sometimes a little bit of day two are pure chaos. So there is a lot of children, a lot of people not knowing 100% what they do, and they always figure it out, but it can seem chaotic at times. So I would suggest you don't plan any big activities on day one and day two. From day three, things are usually very smooth and you can plan anything extracurricular after that. The other fixed activities, the other fixed items on your schedule are fixed 3 hotel meals. They are not fixed in terms of precise timing usually, but there is a window when you and your child should go for a meal. It is completely okay to skip it if you have a better idea for your day, but these are typically fixed within a certain time period. Also, depending on your arrangements and your chess federation, you are maybe having some coaching sessions before the game to prep, after the game to analyze, and you should count with these absolutely. One day when there is a special schedule is 25th of September, which is the rest day. The organizing is planning some interesting visits around Almaty, so they're planning to take us around to some nice places, and they're also planning an event around Blitz with 2,000 euros prize money. When I'm traveling new places with my children, I always try to see it as an opportunity to expand my children's education. That you can do unless you're stuck in the hotel for the whole time, of course. So we always try to do something new and get to know the local culture a little bit. Looking into those up front, I have a few recommendations for top places and top things you can do even before a game. So something like morning tours that you can easily do. Just to mention again, on the 25th, on the free day, the organizer is planning something, so just make sure you don't get to do the same thing twice. The first thing I would recommend is something to get to know the local vibe, to get to know the local cafes and restaurants. There is a pedestrian zone in Almaty around Arbat Street, and it's very close to our hotels. So I highly recommend, and I am planning to go there. The second thing I visited myself, it is Shimbulak Ski Resort. Now you will not get to see snow most probably there in late September, but it is a place with amazing views. It is above 3,000 meters above sea level, and you can see even taller mountains all around. It's a great place. I highly recommend it. The cable car there is fantastic. The third part is Central State Museum. If you want to learn more about the country, about its rich history, about the culture, about the role of horses there, or see the famous Golden Man that is the main artifact of the museum, it is also fairly close to the hotel, and you should definitely go. Any morning will do. The fourth thing that you want to do when you visit a new city is figure out how to get the right panoramic view. And Koktobe cable car will give you precisely that. Panoramic views of the Almaty city. Now from that Koktobe cable car you will also get to Koktobe Hill, and that is kind of a nice place where you can do a Ferris wheel, see a small zoo, do some food, buy some souvenirs. It's a pretty nice place to go to. Other locations, other places do not seem so easy to me, and you might need a full day. Mountain lakes, especially Big Almaty Lake, seems amazing, but I'm not sure we'll get time to get there. Also, Goni ethnic village that is showing the traditional lifestyle, and especially how horses were used around Kazakhstan, showing how people used to live at the time. That does sound great, but I'm not sure we'll be able to get there with all the tight schedule we have around chess. I'm traveling with my daughter to World Cadet Chess Championship in Kazakhstan, and I'm going to share definitely more information on this event before the event and during. I learned also a lot by making this video, and I do hope you find it useful. Maybe you can also find someone who considers it useful apart from you. If you do, please consider sharing it with them and consider subscribing to see more similar content from ChessDad. Thank you for watching. I'm going to announce just a few next videos. They are going to be with the same topic of international championships. Some of them will be talking about Dures in Albania and about Budva in Montenegro. There are a few useful links in the video description as always. Cheers!